Shalom, call halal, Yahweh Bashim Avashai Bahashim Akakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us his truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. I'm the brother Yashawan, back with the WW3 Daily Update. And Salakia, this is the Shabbat Shalom and salutations to you as well. So we're going to start right here, Jeremiah 49 and 20, right? And this heading says, the judgment on who? The devil, all right? Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against the devil, the Edomites, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Who are these Edomites? Oh, the Edomites are the so-called white men, including the ones that are guilty of the largest act of identity theft on the face of the earth. The ones living in Israel fighting over that land and committing genocide right now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the old laughable, lovable idiot, old Stephen Bannon, at Israeli News Live. Zelensky gets his Emmy showing he's an actor and tanks from Israel 12 hours ago. Now, I thought it was interesting he went into the family scandal, the white-on-white crime that has been going on since the Khazarian Empire. He's going to break it down and go into it. And I just thought that, it has everything to do with the war that's going on over there right now. Well, what about World War III? Listen to what this guy says. All right, take it away, Stephen.
Minimum, Poland may be the country there. Poland has been getting a tremendous amount of military support from all over the world, NATO included, and I can certainly see why Israel would want to support Ukraine against Russia. That's considered, according to us, that would be considered a stab in the back, but in a way, well, maybe it's not really a stab in the back if you really know what Putin is up to. Don't kid yourself. Remember, as we have said to you before, quoting to you here from Edward Hudos. This is Edward Hudos here on the left, much younger version back in 1991 with Menachem Schneerson, the famed Rebbe of the Chabad Lubavitch organization there, who is believed to be the Mashiach or the Messiah, according to the organization's beliefs there. He was a very prominent rabbi in Kharkov over in Ukraine. He was also the mayor there, and he is the one that has actually exposed exactly what the plans were for Ukraine, Russia, the war. He brought this out, and everything he has said has been happening to the letter. Going to share that once again with you here in just a moment here. Continuing on, though, RT again reporting here, Kiev intends to kill as many as Russians as possible. Top Zelensky aide says. He says there is only one plan, the most brutal advance with the maximum killing of Russians on this route. He said, noting that Kiev can't stop somewhere and say, all right, let's think and talk about something now. The only possible scenario for Ukraine is to reach its 1991 borders. He said back in May, Podolak also proclaimed that his country hates Russia and those who represent it, and vowed to persecute Russians always and everywhere. That followed comments by Kirill Budanov, he headed of Ukraine's military intelligence agency, who boasted that his agents had murdered Russians, public figures, and pledged that Kiev will keep killing Russians anywhere on the face of this world. My gosh. And you know, listen, and then you hear that, and then you have to remember, as I mentioned to you, Edward Hudos, right here, right? What did Edward Hudos tell us? And of course, a Jewish rabbi. He did later in his 70s converted to Christianity, oddly enough. But he says here, published in the Volganda newspaper, Slavianin, the Chabad Lubavitch Messiah Menachem Schneerson outlined his plans for destroying both Ukraine and Russia. It says Slavs, among them Russians, are the most unbending people in the world. Slavs are unbending as a result of their psychological and intellectual abilities created by many generations of ancestors. It is impossible to alter these genes. Can you believe it? They want to alter the genes of the people. If you don't, in other words, if you can't bend to the way they need you to bend, alter their genes. And if that doesn't work, then kill them, right? Slav Russian can be destroyed, but never conquered. That is why this seed is subject to liquidation and at first a sharp reduction in their number.
Going into genocide.
First of all, we will divide the Slavic nations of 300 million, half of them Russians, into the small countries with weak and severed connections. For this, we will use our old method, divide and conquer. We will try to pit these countries against each other and suck them until civil wars for the sake of mutual destruction. The Ukrainians would think that they are fighting against the expansionist Russia and struggling for their independence. They will think that they have finally gained their freedom while they become fully subdued by us. The same will be thought by the Russians as though they defend their national interest to return their lands illegally taken away from them, and so on. So he goes, looking back in history, it must be admitted that these lands are the ancient ancestral lands of the Jewish Khazaria.
Of the what? Of the what? You mean those converts that had Muslims coming in from one side, Christians coming in from the other, and they were made to pick one of those two religions, and instead of picking either Christian or Muslim, they chose Judaism. Doesn't make you a Jew. It doesn't make you an Israelite. Judaism. That's a religion. It's not a nationality. Khazaria? The Khazars? You actually said that? I thought it didn't exist. Looking back in history, it must be admitted, after hiding it for many, many years, that these lands are the ancient ancestral lands of the Jewish-ish, of or pertaining to, not the Jews, but the Jewish Khazaria. Jewish meaning they were under the religion of Judaism. They were acting like Jews. If you're not a girl and you're girlish, you're acting like a girl. If you're not a Jew and you're Jewish, you're acting like a Jew. How do you do that? You take on their religion. Okay? Now this guy, right, the so-called Jews, right, that are over killing Palestinians in a genocidal massacre, right? They don't believe in Jesus, do they? But then this guy goes back and becomes a Christian, meaning a follower of Christ. Interesting. Anyway, Khazaria, it must be admitted that these lands, what lands? Okay. Those lands over in Ukraine, Kiev was the capital of Khazaria. Okay. That is Israel. What? Read that again. It must be admitted that these lands are the ancient ancestral lands of the Jewish Khazaria, that is Israel. Captured by Kiev's Russia. Wait. Jewish Khazaria, that is Israel. Wait a minute. So what this is saying, that the people in Israel right now, calling themselves Jews, this is their ancestral land. What is this saying? This is saying that these Khazarians are not Israelites. This is their ancestral land, the Caucasus Mountains, right? Edom in the Bible. Not the land of Israel belongs to the Israelites. These Khazarians are Edomites, including the ones that call themselves Jews. Amalek, okay? That is Israel. It says, it must be admitted that these lands are the ancient ancestral lands of the Jewish Khazaria, that is Israel. Captured by Kiev's Rus, the ancient state of Russia, with the capital in Kiev in the 10th century. The Slavs are temporary guests on these lands and are subject to eviction. Who does that? Okay, so you can't, both of those lands don't belong to you. Israel and Ukraine, whatever you're calling it now. We will return this territory and build the great Khazaria, the Jewish state, on these fertile lands, the same way as 50 what? Carry on.
That is Israel captured by Kiev's Rus, the ancient state of Russia with the capital in Kiev. In the 10th century, the Slavs, a temporary guest on these lands.
Subject to eviction. 50 years ago, we see? Wow, look at this. The same way as 50 years ago, we created Israel, squeezing the palate. Woo! Now, the only difference is this land belongs to you, right? Which actually belongs to Japheth, which you're not Japheth, you're Shem, okay? The Arabs calling themselves Palestinians are Shemitic as well, okay? Meaning you descend from Noah's son Shem, right? Anyway, this is damning. You know what? I'm gonna take a snapshot of that. I don't know how to do it. So let's go like this. Let's go like this. Bear with me. That is damning. Anyway, take Benoom back just a little bit. I knew that this was very important.
Their national interest to return their lands illegally taken away from them, and so on. So he goes, looking back in history, it must be admitted that these lands are the ancient ancestral lands of the Jewish Khazaria, that is Israel, captured by Kiev's Rus, the ancient state of Russia with the capital in Kiev. In the 10th century, the Slavs, a temporary guest on these lands, and are subject to eviction. We will return this territory and build the great Khazaria, the Jewish state, on these fertile lands, in the same way as 50 years ago we created Israel, squeezing the Palestinians out. There you have it.
Woo!
And again, who said that? That is said by the former Lubavitch Rebbe, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, picture right here to the right on there on the screen there, and to the left, Edward Hudos, who actually revealed that information to the entire world. He should be a household name. I mean, like I said, sadly enough, it's very few Christians will ever truly expose the evils that are going on in this world, because if the evils that are happening happen to be Jewish people, they don't want to. They're afraid to touch that. it ends up taking Jewish people, people like Edward Hudos, who is a former rabbi, myself. We were never raised Jewish. We were just ethnically Jewish. But the thing is we wanted to wake up and recognize that there was evil going on and then expose it. Now, that doesn't mean Jewish people are evil. By no means. Jewish people are some wonderful people.
Let's see what the Bible says. And we'll get out of here. 3 scriptures. Revelation 2 and 9. King James. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but thou art rich. We have a rich history. The Most High chose us. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. That's damning. Revelation 3 and 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Who are the Jews? Who are the Jews? Here's the Jews. Here's a Jew. There's a Jew. That's a Jew. Here are the Jews. These are the Jews. Okay? Here's the Jews. Look at this. I like that. Judah, Gad. Here's the Jews. The ones with the yoke around the neck. Okay? That's good enough. One more over here. I can see this doesn't want to cooperate. Let's see. Let's go here. Exodus 17:16. For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Okay. I guess it didn't say. Ooh. This is even better. He said, it's the NIV, he said, because hands were lifted up against the throne of the Lord will be at war against the Amalekites from generation to generation. Who are the Amalekites? Even this guy claims to be an Amalekite. Anyway, we'll end it right there. All right, World War III. They just explained a lot of that, right? So anyway, cut it right there. We hope that the elect will ratify you, brothers and sisters, with that shalom or Shabbat shalom.